You're pregnant. 9 months in the future, you give birth to a beautiful baby girl. You learn that she's deaf. What do? I am calling people to action to adapt to a silent language. Specifically, I'm talking about hearing parents. Hearing parents must be called into action to overcome the obstacle of learning a new language, especially if it means that their deaf children have a means of communicating with the world. Most of the time, deaf children are brought into this world through hearing parents. This is specifically why I'm going to talk about hearing parents with deaf children, rather than deaf parents giving birth to hearing children or deaf children. I'm also going to talk about the different medical advancements in today's society that hearing parents are kind of relying on recently, rather than learning American Sign Language to communicate with their child. And lastly, it is also very important, in order to do anything, to be able to take action, the resources in the society must be taken advantage of in order to do anything at all. So first off, many deaf children are born to families that have hearing parents. In fact, 90% of deaf children are born to hearing parents and to hearing families. This is a lot of people. This is a lot of children. Let's also remember that 2 to 3 out of about 1,000 children are born with some type of hearing loss. That's a lot of kids. Let's put one more fact onto that. How about 88% of the hearing families that have deaf children never learn American Sign Language. That is extremely shocking. These parents aren't learning the main communication tool to communicate with their child. That's pretty significant, especially to remember that different studies have been done to help ensure that American Sign Language is very productive and is a very good tool for these children. For example, it has been shown that children who learn American Sign Language have been able to succeed in many different aspects in their education, along with being accepted into the deaf community because of American Sign Language. The deaf community can bring a lot to a child and to the family's life, especially, for example, job opportunities. Different job opportunities that no one would even know of if they weren't in the deaf community and if they did not know about the deaf community. And the first way to be accepted into the deaf community and to learn about them is through their language and through American Sign Language. It is also important to understand that children who do not have a good communication tool with their family can show a higher degree of symptoms of depression. This could be avoided to simply learn American Sign Language. But why aren't these families learning American Sign Language? Why aren't hearing parents making an effort to communicate with their child? Well, a lot of the time, different things can come in the way of learning an entire new language. Imagine you give birth to a child, and now on top of raising this little child, you also have to learn a whole new language. That's a lot on one's plate. So instead of learning the language, they are relying on the medical advances to help this child communicate with the world and form relationships and friendships and families with the world. Well, the specific medical advancement that I'm referring to are cochlear implants. Now, I don't bring up cochlear implants to talk to you about whether they should or should not be done, or should or should not be implanted. That's not my point. My point is to say that these children who do have cochlear implants should still learn sign language. Why not give these children all of the possible resources they can have in order to succeed in this world? Specifically, American Sign Language, giving them a way to get connected with the deaf community and also stay connected with the hearing as well. There's no bad effect that this might have on a child to learn American Sign Language. It is also important to realize that cochlear implants, yes, are usually very successful, but they do have a fail rate. In fact, about 7% or a little less than 7% fail rate. Now, yes, this is a very small statistic, But we can't just ignore that statistic. We can't just ignore the 7% of children that might face extreme language waves because of this. Because instead of during this critical time of brain development, teaching them American Sign Language, people are putting all of their eggs in one basket, hoping that the cochlear implant will be successful. That is not okay to do, especially with a child growing up in their most critical point of brain development. Now, how can we fix this? Well, different communities have different resources, and I urge hearing parents to look into it and find those different resources. I'm specifically going to talk about Memphis, Tennessee, because that's where we are right now. Now, Memphis, Tennessee has something called Deaf Connect, where they have different classes that you can sign up for that are not super expensive. They are very affordable classes that can help you learn American Sign Language. And a lot of these classes are actually taught by deaf instructors. This can help the family get a hold of the deaf community along with learning American Sign Language for their child and for their family. And also another thing is LifePrint is a website that has different American Sign Language lessons that can be taken advantage of, done in your own time. So if you are extremely busy, you can take advantage of these resources when you do have time. That's why I urge these parents to simply look into it. Try to learn American Sign Language. I know life gets busy, but it's not impossible. Finally, hearing parents, please listen to this call. Please get called into action to overcome, I know it's hard, the obstacle of learning a new language, to ensure that your deaf child has a means of communicating with the world. And take advantage of those resources, because the deaf community is more than willing to help. So please remember, please help your child learn to communicate with the world. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day.